That jar of instant coffee you are reaching for every morning might contain child labor controversy, chemical additives, and quality so poor that professional tasters compare it to dirty dishwater. And the coffee companies selling these products know exactly what they are putting in those jars, but they are betting you will never question what is really in your morning cup. Tonight, we are exposing 8 major instant coffee brands sold in every grocery store across Canada. Brands you have trusted for years. Brands that market themselves as premium quality while filling containers with the lowest grade beans available. And what independent testing and consumer investigations have revealed is going to make you reconsider every brand in your pantry. We are talking about coffee connected to child slavery lawsuits. Coffee that professional tasters ranked dead last in blind tests. Coffee so heavily processed that it tastes like cardboard, while the companies charge premium prices. Stick around until the end because I am going to tell you which coffee alternatives actually deliver quality and use ethical sourcing, the ones worth your money and your health. But first, you need to know which brands are lying to you about quality and purity. Before we dive into these disturbing details, if you care about what you are putting in your body every morning and want to stay informed about the products you consume daily, hit that subscribe button because coffee companies are banking on you trusting their marketing instead of demanding transparency. Let us prove them wrong. Number 1, Nescafe. Let me start with the world's best-selling instant coffee brand. Nescafe has dominated grocery store shelves for generations with their familiar jars and promises of convenient quality. But the corporation behind Nescafe has one of the most disturbing track records in the food industry. In 2021, Nestlé was sued by 8 former child slaves who alleged the company aided and abetted their enslavement on cocoa farms in Ivory Coast. The lawsuit detailed children trafficked from Mali, forced to work without pay, and beaten regularly on farms that supplied Nestlé. The company has been making promises to eliminate child labor since 2005, setting deadlines they have repeatedly missed. First 2005, then 2020. The problem persists, sued by former child slaves. This is not ancient history. In 2024, Nestlé was still responding to migrant child labor allegations within their supply chains. The Fair Labor Association found children working on farms as family workers, unable to attend school, performing hazardous tasks, including using machetes and carrying heavy loads. Nestlé's code of conduct prohibits child labor, but their enforcement has been criticized as inadequate. And child labor is just one scandal. Nestlé has faced international boycotts since the 1970s over their baby formula marketing practices in developing countries. They demanded Ethiopia repay $6 million in debt during a severe famine. They have been fined millions for price-fixing chocolate in Canada. When you buy Nescafe, your money flows to a corporation with a documented history of putting profits over people. Professional coffee reviewers have consistently found that Nescafe Classic is loaded with lower-quality Robusta beans, which are known for their bitter, harsh taste compared to Arabica. One professional review noted the coffee had a neutral, grain-like character from beans that were likely steamed to neutralize taints before roasting. The ingredients get worse when you look at Nescafe's mixed products. Their 3-in-1 packets list sugar as the first ingredient, followed by glucose syrup, hardened palm oil, and then instant coffee at just 7.9% of the product. You are essentially drinking sweetened palm oil with coffee flavoring. The hazelnut variety does not even contain actual hazelnuts, just artificial flavoring and acesulfame potassium, a controversial artificial sweetener. 7.9% actual coffee. Testing also detected acrylamide in instant coffee, a chemical compound classified as a probable human carcinogen that forms during coffee roasting. Instant coffee processing can concentrate this compound. Nescafe has never been transparent about the levels in their products. At $8 to $15 per jar, you are paying to support child labor controversies while drinking chemically processed coffee made from the cheapest beans available. Number 2, Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is supposed to represent everything Canadian about coffee. The brand was founded by a hockey legend in 1964 and built its reputation on fresh, quality coffee that brought communities together. For decades, it was genuinely something to be proud of. Then came the 2014 acquisition by Restaurant Brands International, the same company that owns Burger King. That is when everything changed. The numbers tell the story. Tim Hortons dropped from 4th to 50th place in a survey of Canada's most admired brands after the acquisition. 1 out of 3 Tim Hortons customers now says their opinion of the chain is worsening. Social media is filled with Canadians describing the coffee as tasting like bog water and dirty dishwater. 4th place to 50th place. There is a persistent rumor that Tim Hortons sold their original coffee supplier to McDonald's, which is why McCafe now tastes better than Timmy's. Tim Hortons officially denies this, but here is what we know for certain. McDonald's Canada sources their coffee from Mother Parkers, which is the same supplier Tim Hortons used before they built their own roasting facility. Whether the recipe was sold or not, McDonald's ended up with a supplier who knew exactly how to make the coffee Canadians used to love. Same supplier, different results. The Tim Hortons instant coffee products have received particularly harsh reviews. One review platform gave it a low score, specifically citing customer dissatisfaction regarding value for money and product quality. Customers described the instant version as not meeting expectations compared to even the declining in-store product. The taste does not match what Tim Hortons once represented. The franchise model has created massive inconsistency. Some locations maintain standards while others serve coffee that tastes like it has been sitting for hours. When the acquisition happened, franchise owners in Ontario made headlines for cutting paid breaks and employee benefits to offset minimum wage increases. A brand that used to represent Canadian community values became just another cost-cutting corporate operation. The instant coffee is simply the final insult. Cost-cutting killed Canadian values. At $9 to $14 per container, Tim Hortons instant coffee delivers a product that loyal customers describe as a major disappointment. You are paying for nostalgia and brand recognition while drinking coffee that does not deserve either. Number 3. Maxwell House. Maxwell House is another legacy coffee brand that independent testing has exposed as one of the worst instant coffees available. In extensive taste tests ranking instant coffee brands, Maxwell House Original Roast consistently lands at the absolute bottom in taste tests. Professional tasters describe Maxwell House Instant as having a chemical aroma, a burnt taste, and sludgy remnants that settle at the bottom of your cup. The brand proudly advertises their coffee as full-bodied, smooth, and good to the last drop. The reality could not be further from these marketing claims. One review described it as having an unpleasant wooden flavor, with traces of bitter burnt butterscotch and molasses. The pleasant appearance of crema on the surface gives false hope before that first disappointing sip destroys any expectations. Maxwell House has a history dating back to 1892, when founder Joel Cheek developed a blend that became famous at the Maxwell House Hotel in Nashville. For decades, it represented quality American coffee. But like so many legacy brands, cost-cutting has destroyed whatever made it special. Consumer complaints have exploded. Reviews are filled with people who drank Maxwell House for decades saying the taste has fundamentally changed. Some report that the coffee is not all coffee anymore, that something has been added to cut back on quality for profit. One reviewer noted finding a coating of dark sediment stuck to the bottom of the cup that was never there before. Something added to cut quality. The company is now owned by Jacobs Douwe Egberts, a Dutch conglomerate focused on efficiency and margins rather than quality. The use of Robusta beans mixed with Arabica creates that characteristic harsh taste that coffee connoisseurs find unpalatable. The processing methods strip away whatever complexity might have existed in the original beans. At $8 to $12 per container, Maxwell House charges the same as competitors for coffee that consistently tests as the worst available. You are paying for a century-old slogan while drinking coffee that independent testing confirms you should avoid at all costs. Number 4. Folgers. Folgers has built their entire brand identity around one slogan. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. It is one of the most recognizable jingles in advertising history. But according to countless consumers and professional reviewers, that slogan should come with an asterisk and a disclaimer. Best part of waking up is not Folgers. Professional Coffee Review gave Folgers Classic Roast Instant a devastating assessment, noting it was loaded with poor quality coffees of the Robusta species. The taste was described as weak, watery, and requiring significantly more product than recommended just to achieve a flavor that is still disappointing. One reviewer called it one of the least tasty instant coffees they had ever tasted. Consumer complaints about Folgers have exploded in recent years. Reviews are filled with people who drank Folgers for decades, saying the taste has fundamentally changed. Some describe finding what appears to be wood fragments in their coffee. Others report a chemical taste that makes the product practically undrinkable. One customer review noted that their longtime favorite now tastes like burnt wood ash. They had been drinking Folgers for over 20 years, but the recipe changed, and it tasted awful. They thought it might be a one-off container, but purchased another at a different store and found the same terrible taste. Current owner J.M. Smucker Company has prioritized cost efficiency over quality, resulting in a product that longtime customers barely recognize. The instant coffee version amplifies every problem. The granules come in cheap plastic packaging that feels inferior compared to competitors who at least use glass jars. Even Nescafe Classic uses glass jars for their most basic product. Cheap plastic packaging, inferior product. The coffee tastes weak and watery at recommended proportions, with an earthy quality that some describe as tasting like dirt. When it cools down, these negative qualities become even more pronounced. At $8 to $12 per container, you are paying for a famous jingle while drinking coffee that professional tasters rank among the worst available. Number 5. Starbucks. Starbucks represents one of the most audacious marketing claims in coffee history. When they launched in 2009, Starbucks actually challenged customers to tell the difference between VIA Instant and their freshly brewed coffee. The claim was so bold that it prompted extensive professional testing. The results were embarrassing. Coffee Review conducted blind taste tests comparing VIA to whole bean Starbucks products. The VIA Columbia scored 77 compared to 84 for the whole bean version. The VIA Italian Roast scored a dismal 68 compared to 80 for whole bean. These are not small differences. They represent fundamentally different products, despite Starbucks marketing them as equivalent experiences. Professional tasters described VIA Italian Roast as inert, thin, and unattractive. The Columbia variety showed taints in the green coffee and clumsiness in the roast that are not typical of Starbucks whole bean offerings. One review noted that the claim that one cannot tell the difference between the conventional roasted versions and the instant VIA versions is plainly mistaken. This must be a great, if secret, embarrassment for the dedicated coffee professionals at Starbucks. Plainly mistaken marketing claims. The pricing makes VIA even harder to justify. At approximately $1 per cup, you are paying premium prices for what is essentially mediocre instant coffee, with a famous logo on the package. VIA uses a combination of spray-dried instant coffee and micro-ground beans, which Starbucks markets as their secret innovation. But the proportions of each are not disclosed, leaving customers unsure of what they are actually drinking. The flavored VIA products are even more disappointing. The pumpkin spice version has been described as having a dusty chemical flavor with bitterness that gets worse as it cools. Reviewers compare it unfavorably to cheap grocery store instant coffee, noting it tastes nothing like the beloved in-store version. At around $8 for a box of packets, you are paying Starbucks prices for quality that does not match Starbucks standards. Number 6. McCafe. McCafe has built a reputation for serving surprisingly good coffee at McDonald's restaurants. Blind taste tests have actually ranked McDonald's drip coffee above many competitors, including Tim Hortons. But here's the problem. The McCafe products you buy at the grocery store do not deliver that same experience. Grocery store does not match restaurant. Consumer complaints about McCafe pods are extensive and alarming. Reviews are filled with reports of pods that explode in Keurig machines, spewing grounds everywhere. Customers describe deflated pod tops, indicating staleness. One reviewer noted that their last 4 12-packs had over half the pods defective, leaking grounds into the coffee. Over half the pods defective. These are not isolated incidents. They are systematic quality control failures that suggest the product is rushed to market without adequate testing. There is also the disturbing issue of machine cleanliness at McDonald's restaurants themselves. Employees have posted on social media about the horrifying state of McCafe machine interiors. One worker described 5+ inches of uncleaned liquid making up the machine's inside parts. They explained that staff are not properly trained on cleaning procedures, and managers often do not know the protocols either. 5 inches of uncleaned liquid. Former McDonald's suppliers report that McCafe grocery store coffee is not the same as what is served in McDonald's restaurants. The in-store coffee is fresher and slightly better quality. The grocery store version is produced under license with lower standards. At $7 to $11 per bag, you are drinking coffee that does not meet McDonald's in-store standards while paying for the McDonald's name. Number 7. President's Choice. President's Choice represents Loblaw's attempt to enter the coffee market with a Canadian-branded product. The Great Canadian Coffee marketing appeals to patriotic consumers who want to support domestic brands. But being Canadian does not automatically mean being good. Canadian branding does not mean Canadian quality. President's Choice coffee is actually roasted by Mother Parkers, the same company that supplies McDonald's. This is not necessarily a negative, but it does mean you are not getting some unique Canadian coffee experience. You are getting a white label product with Loblaw's branding on it. The Great Canadian marketing is essentially fiction designed to appeal to your sense of national pride rather than reflecting anything meaningful about the product's origins. White label product, patriotic marketing. Reviews of President's Choice coffee are decidedly mixed. While some customers appreciate the value pricing when on sale, others describe it as bland compared to competitors. One review specifically noted, it does not have that rich flavor that makes coffee satisfying. Another called it rather bland compared to other brands like Maxwell House or Folgers, which is saying something given how poorly those brands tested. Bland compared to already bad brands. The pricing strategy has frustrated customers. At regular prices around $14 per tin, many feel it does not justify the cost given the quality. When on sale around $6, it represents decent value. But these significant price fluctuations make it hard to know whether you are getting a good deal or being overcharged. The instant options from President's Choice are limited. The instant espresso claims to produce a smooth, frothy crema, but most reviews describe it as adequate rather than exceptional. That is not exactly a ringing endorsement for your morning coffee routine. Number 8. Mount Hagen. Our final brand might surprise you because it is often recommended as the ethical alternative. Mount Hagen markets itself as the first organic, fair trade certified instant coffee producer in the world. Their beans come from Papua New Guinea, grown without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. The company emphasizes paying farmers fairly and supporting coffee-growing communities. Sounds perfect, right? Here is the problem. Recent independent laboratory testing found that Mount Hagen organic instant coffee tested positive for both lead and arsenic contamination. Lead and arsenic contamination. While the levels were lower than some competitors, the presence of heavy metals in a product marketed as pure and healthy raises serious concerns. Consumers paying premium prices for organic certification reasonably expect their coffee to be free of toxic substances. The lead contamination is particularly concerning given what we know about lead's health effects. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends limits of just 1 part per billion for lead in water. While the contamination in Mount Hagen likely results in lower levels in your actual cup after dilution, the fact that these substances are present at all in an organic product is troubling. Organic certification does not guarantee purity. Beyond the contamination issue, Mount Hagen has received mixed reviews on taste and value. At prices approaching $65 for a 6-pack of jars, this is among the most expensive instant coffee available. Multiple reviewers report receiving broken or damaged jars, with glass shards potentially contaminating the product. For a premium organic product, this lack of quality control is disappointing. Broken jars, potential contamination. At premium prices, you are paying for ethical sourcing and sustainable practices, but neither product purity nor basic packaging integrity is guaranteed. The Fair Trade certification, while admirable in principle, does not always deliver the benefits to farmers that consumers assume. If this video opened your eyes to instant coffee problems, hit that subscribe button because coffee companies are betting on you never questioning what is in your cup. We give you the information they hope you never find. Companies hope you never question your cup. Check your pantry tonight. If you have been drinking any of these 8 brands, you have been consuming substandard coffee while trusting companies that do not deserve that trust. It is time to demand better. What coffee brand have you been drinking? Drop it in the comments below. Because when we share our experiences, we realize how many Canadians are unknowingly drinking terrible coffee every morning while trusting brands that prioritize cost over quality.